Hello from Bali. This is a podcast Pigeon of Peace where we do discuss awesome skills of troubleshooters. Watch, listen, and check the description below for the details. Let's talk about loneliness and let's start with the definition.
Loneliness this is not when you are just want to be alone, but when you are self-sufficient and you have something on your mind and you are interested for yourself. For example, you have books to read, films to watch, or even friends to talk. But maybe they live in other countries, in other time zones, and maybe they live so far that you couldn't shake the hands, you couldn't feel their warmth, and you couldn't have a toast. But anyway, sometimes in adult life it's happened, then you want or you used to be alone. For example, it was a very strange time. I was laying in the Hong Kong hospital for 3 weeks, and I was completely alone, and no one from my parents and from my friends know where I was. And on I don't know, maybe after 10 days I was thinking I'm so alone, and it was like end of the life. But after 5 days I was in my city, and I was surrounded by friends, by parents, and I was eating good food, and I was talking with jokes, and I was thinking, "Oh, come on, everything is good." There is huge amount of Russian writers, and they have like a different mood. For example, if you will talk to Chutchev, he will write something, there is a beauty in nature. If you would talk to Yesenin, he would write, there's a beautiful woman. If you will talk to Tolstoy, he would write something, forget about woman, you should see this oak. And there are some people like Gorky, he would write something that even loneliness penguin could be threat to anyone else.
And when we actually speak about loneliness, it happens differently for different people. So whether like we need to aspire to have our own room, to have our own time, or maybe like as you mentioned, it might be circumstantial, so that like you could put into the situation. So the moment we realize that there is no one who we could probably speak or share our thoughts, what should be our, I would say, like preparation to go into the stage where we are completely autonomous, where we completely maybe unreachable for a certain amount of time, so that we don't really go crazy, we don't really go nuts, but we will be productive in whatever way it means.
When I was going to institute, sometime I was thinking I do not want to meet any friends because I need to sit to the computer and I should run the program. When I was having a family and young daughter, I was praying that he would sleep all the night and I could work with computer. So sometimes I wanted to be like a solitude, to work in complete quiet space, and it's happened more and more often. I know that all the working day I should communicate with others, but to write articles, to make even our recordings, I should to be alone, because there would be additional noises, requests, and maybe requirement for my help. And what I understand, when I was not sufficient, I was seeking for the help. But when I have all resources I need, I was seeking to stay alone, because when I am alone, I could create something. But if I would help to my mother, to my sister, to my wife, or to my daughter, I would create something not so big. Yes, sometimes you should use vacuum cleaner, or maybe to clean dishes, wash dishes. But if you want to be creative, if you want to be productive, if you want to be resultative, you should have your spare space to work with no one sitting close to you.
And actually, this brings us to maybe an interesting twist, because nowadays it seems most of the people actually are capable to do their work no matter what they are. And obviously, like when we speak about a single person, probably they could organize their routine, they could set up the schedule and just work on something. But when we speak about the team, we do need, let's say we are managing them or we actually working with other managers, how we need to understand that, like some people need to lonely time, they need to have like a focus time. So how to instill or, like create and set up this culture of saying that it's okay to be a loneliness, but yet you need to be a resultative, meaning that, like you really appreciate the time, you really appreciate the focus, you really appreciate the lack of noise, yet you actually let the people know that it's for a good reason. It's for like a bigger goals.
Let's make a difference between animals like cat and dog. If you leave the flat, your dog will sit close to the, I don't know, doormat maybe? Is it okay to say
Doormat, yes.
doormat? This dog would sit on the doormat and wait for you for a very long time. And sometime, if there would be steps on the ladder, the dog would try to smell and to listen if this owner or maybe not. If you will leave the flat and you have a cat barely would see at your disappearing, and he would behave as everything is okay. So he will not wait you even if you give him a water and pet food. The same would be with people. Some people do not want to stay alone because they have some fear or maybe they have some doubts. But if you have what to do and you going to be a master of reading, writing, programming, or do something else, you will be waiting until you could work by yourself. You know, I have a grandma, and all the summertime or all summer month, we with my sister were providing with grandma, and when we were going to the beach, our grandma was very happy because she has time to sleep. And when we were back, he was completely restful, and he were eager to hug us and to talk with us and play with us. And you know, it was very funny because sometime when she will go without me on the market, I was do not knowing what to do. Okay, I could play with some toys, but 4 or 5 times to be with myself, it was so long time that it was almost impossible to bear. So if you have plans, if you have something to do, if you have aim or goal, then you could take your time and spend it with reason, with польза,
Usefulness.
with usefulness. But if you have no horizon to achieve, then you will just wait to someone to pick you by the hands and go on random road.
Well, it actually reminds me one of the examples when I was staying in Singapore and was going back to work. I used to take my newborn son and like walk with him, like carrying him, because I knew that my wife actually she would like had a very intense day of like babysitting. So no matter what, I need to give her some sort of like a loneliness time. And this actually brings us to our next question, because sometimes I do believe if you really aspire as a person, as a someone who has goals, someone who has all of the horizons, you actually may need to buy your loneliness, whether it's like your colleagues, whether it's your like family or anyone else. So how exactly you strategize this to make sure that you don't harm feelings, you still maybe look like a good person to them, and yet you get your loneliness, hence you get your results.
You know, there is a Russian anecdote or joke, maybe you'll correct me, something like this. It was a speech of a girl who grown up, and he were talking to his friends. You know, when I was young, I was thinking why it's so unusual. My father at the 8th of March, that is International Women's Day, take me to the cafe, and we were going, walking, eating ice creams, and I don't know how to say, playing on carousel. It's okay?
Yeah, like a running around,
Riding around on the
riding,
carousel.
riding.
Riding, thank you. Riding around the carousel. And I was always thinking, why we never take our mother with us? And then I understand this happiness was not for me. It was intended for my mother, who wanted to stay alone, to clean the head, to make some mask, and to apply some cosmetic on the hands. And you know, it's very strange. Sometimes you should buy your loneliness by other meanings. For example, you will give some presents. I have a lot of relatives, and they never visited me, but before several days of their birthday, they always invite me. Could you please come in other countries? And I always know what to do. I should to buy expensive present, and they would be happy even without me.
And when we actually speak about maybe more like a business matters, because sometimes, let's say as a leader, as the one who actually manages the team, the company, or maybe, like entire, like corporation block, yes, you need to speak to people, but sometimes you also need to think, you need to strategize, you need to probably really be alone. So how to get this time and how to protect it, and how to, again, like maybe I'm repeating my question, but I do believe this is also like more important, how to make sure it really goes uninterrupted, because the cost of the time, the value of the possible decision might be so high. So how to make sure that you find it. And again, like I do remember one of the things that you taught us, that when you're doing like any projects, any programs, the best time to plan is the night. So how it comes when, like we speak about the leaders of the big companies or leaders of the big initiatives.
I was working in Alpha Bank for a very long time, and always I was sitting in a cabinet by myself. And if I have guardians in the face of my assistants, they would say, "Is it allowed to enter or not?" But after 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, they were going home because they have families, and I was do not knowing what to do. For example, I am working on something, and someone opened the door. "Are you free?" "I am busy." "Okay, bye." But I was interrupted and I need some time to restore my attention. And for example, if it would be like 5 times per hour, it's quite often. Then I rent a small room, like 400 meters for my company, for my antivirus. And it was in the business center, very close to my current job. And they have a glass wall, completely transparent. And for the very first time, I was so stressed because I see everyone see me. I could not do anything like, for example, sleep like 10 minutes in my chair. But suddenly I realized that it is quite easy. Everyone could understand. If I am in the office, so there is no need to open my door. And then I gave everyone a very simple rule. If my door is open, everyone could enter. If my door is closed, even if I am in a cabinet, it is not possible to interrupt me.
Well, then my last question will be how knowing about loneliness could help to make this world a better place.
To be honest, we always alone. When you go to exam, you are alone. If you, for example, ride a bicycle, you are alone. If, for example, you are going to toilet, you are alone. If you, for example, go somewhere on your business trip, you often go alone. So if you will calculate how many time you spend by yourself, by your own, you will find that maybe 80% of this time is working like this. If you have child, if you have grandchild, you will understand that they want so many attention, and sometimes you would be happy to give it to them, but sometimes you will need have a rest. So if you have very intense life, you would be quite happy to stay alone and be devoted by yourself. But if you're just working on remote workplace, for example, I don't know, like India, then sometime you will see that you are surrounded by so many peoples, so many cultures, but they are not talking your language. They will not understand your jokes.
And we review the skill of loneliness and how it could be helpful for you. Stay in peace.